Hey everybody, nobody watches my channel. I'm Dennis H, and I'm wide awake. And today I am coming with the message of we're screwed. I mean, we collectively, there's no other way to put it, we're screwed. We're done. Put a fork in us, man, because we're done. The amount of infighting, going on, the egos involved, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-numbingly frustrating and infuriating. Specifically, I'm addressing this person, Morpheus, that wrote this paper, Skyception. I read the first chapter, and I stopped there because of all the people to focus on as part of the problem, to select Dane Wigington and Geoengineeringwatch.org is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely vile. You could pick 1,000 people who are doing things to hurt humanity, to destroy the environment. And to pick on Geoengineeringwatch.org is disgusting, and specifically to call out Dane Wigington as a shill or a psyop. I don't know Dane Wigington, but what I do know is that I've learned in my life is that you judge a person by their actions and not their words. And for all intents and purposes, Dane Wigington has talked the talk and walked the walk. As far as I'm concerned, without Dane Wigington, I would have never woke up to this issue. And so for that, he has my gratitude. Him and the rest of the, folks that work at Geoengineering Watch. But the fact of the matter is Morpheus's premise is so asinine from the get-go. The presumption that a site that's trying to expose people to the fact that we're being sprayed with poison, to control the weather, to do whatever, to thin the population, I really don't care. What difference does it make? The fact of the matter is to ask a site or a person or a business, an entity, whatever you want to call it, to ask them to do something that's out of their purview. Asking Geoengineering Watch to focus or to even cover, the solar influence on climate, well, that's what you would expect from a climate site. Geoengineering Watch isn't a climate site. It's pretty much in the title of the site. Their focus is geoengineering, and they're watching it. Get it? I'm just absolutely floored that this, and this isn't the first time. I guess it should be a badge of honor that if you're being attacked, then that means that whatever you're doing is having an effect. But the fact of the matter is that the attacks are coming from inside, right? The attacks aren't coming from outside. And so I would reckon that the sun does influence the climate. Absolutely no doubt about it. Of course it does. It's the number one climate driver. Natural climate driver is the sun. Of course, it makes sense. But what you're asking Geoengineering Watch to cover the influence and effects of the sun on the climate is like asking McDonald's to serve steak. It's like asking BP to go into the solar industry. And to me, when I hear that kind of talk, I know instantly you're dealing with a liberal, and a liberal mindset cannot be argued with. Facts matter not. And maybe this will offend people. I don't know. I'm past the point of caring about offending people. I've been offended my whole life. I've never complained about it. Get over it. Move on. The world owes you nothing. Nothing. You're not guaranteed a life free from being offended. Things offend you. Get over it. Move on. The fact of the matter is, what you're asking someone to do is to focus on something that has nothing to do with what they want to do. He's a grown man. I'm pretty sure if he wants to focus on geoengineering, then that's exactly what he's allowed to do. And to say that because he refuses to talk about the sun, that he must be a gatekeeper and a psi operation, psychological operation, is asinine. It's counterproductive. It's absolutely damaging and destroying the only chance and opportunity that we have to end this nightmare is with the infighting. I can't take it. Weather War 101. Look, at least Michael Murphy had the honor of being a man and not lashing out at somebody who obviously helped him, right? So as we sit here and we do our things that we do to try to fight, the menace that is geoengineering, to see men of honor. Look, I don't know what happened. I don't know either of these people. But what I do know is that the infighting, that the name calling, that the psyop bullshit is destroying us. And it's beautiful, man. That's what they depend on. They absolutely depend on division. Division is the only thing they understand. The powers that be know one way and one way only, and that's turn people against each other, and you've won the battle. Right there. Well, whether you're a willing participant or not, man, Morpheus, you're playing right into their hand. There is no doubt that the sun influences the climate. That's not the argument. The argument is that geoengineering is ruining the planet. So let me ask you, the sun has gone through cycles before. Climate has been different than it is now. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what cycles the sun went through, no matter how cold or how hot the planet was, life existed on Earth. Geoengineering is ensuring that regardless of the temperature of the planet, that life will no longer exist on Earth. Now, I don't know about you, I'm all down for stopping that. And we can deal with the effects of the sun, but the fact of the matter is, if there's no one here to experience the climate, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? And it's disgusting to me. It made me physically ill to think of all people you could attack, that you would attack the one person who's actually, not one person, but one of the most visible people out there actively engaged in trying to do something, trying to save your sorry ass, Morpheus. I mean, who are you? What kind of a coward doesn't put their name on their work? What are your sources? Wikipedia? Man, I hate to tell you this, but Wikipedia is not really a legitimate source for any legitimate research. They're not. Deal with it. Your main source, at least in the first chapter, and maybe, I'm doing a disservice to everybody by not reading the second and the third, but I'll be honest with you, it was hard to stomach the first. And if there's more of that in the second, what's the point? I don't see any point in reading any further. Fact of the matter is that geoengineering is destroying the chance that any of us will experience a future. And as far as I'm concerned, all the rest is nonsense. It's ridiculous to even look at the sun or to look at cars, to look at anything. What's the point? What purpose would it serve? And I'll reiterate it again, I'm going to say it again. Asking geoengineeringwatch.org to cover the effects of the sun on climate is the same thing as asking the phone company, well, there's no phone companies. It's like asking your cable provider to deliver your water. That's not what they do. They do cable. Water does water. Geoengineering Watch focuses on geoengineering. You've got your solar websites out there that focus on the influence of the sun. Hey, cool, go for it. That's not a legitimate reason to dog a human being in a way like that. So motivation, I know what your motivation is. And it's vile. It's vile, and it's absolutely the reason we're in the mess we're in. Now, I've got plenty of words for everybody, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning. We're screwed. We're screwed, man. We're screwed. Put a fork in us, man. The human race is done. If we can't decide as individuals, as human beings, as people with spirit, that regardless of all the other problems we have to deal with, if we don't stop geoengineering, we're done. We're done. Nothing else matters. So, yeah, I get it. There are other issues. There's all kinds of problems we have to deal with. But the fact of the matter is, we have to stop geoengineering in order to know what we have to deal with. Until we stop geoengineering, how do we know the state of the climate? How do we know the state, of the environment? We don't, we can't, and we won't until it stops. So, at the end of the day, what's happening 93 million miles away is not having the same effect as something that's happening day in and day out all over the globe, right here, right in our atmosphere, absolutely affecting us instantly, immediately. But I came to the realization probably 6 months ago, there's no longer, this is my opinion, there's no longer anyone on earth that can say they don't know there's something going on. I'm convinced of it. There's absolutely no way, unless you're mentally deficient, you have Alzheimer's real bad and you just don't function normal. But you can't look around at our world today and come to any other conclusion than there's something bad wrong going on. There's something bad wrong going on. Now, I believe that there's 3 choices people make. There's something bad going wrong. I don't want to know what it is. There's something bad going wrong, and I'm going to look into it. There's something bad going on, and I've looked into it, and now I've chosen to do something about it. I've decided to do something about it. And that's where we're at. We've got 3 kinds of people right now. And that's the problem, right? Because as they see this infighting, the people who are on the fence and who are looking into it, they're going to decide, I can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to even think about it. Or they're going to decide, man, this is horrible and I have to do something about it. Well, brother, I sit on the fence that says, I sit on the side that says, I can't live with myself. I can't look my son in the eyes, knowing what I know, and not fight. I'm not fighting for me. I'm not fighting for anything that I've had up to this point or any hope for any future that comes after. I'm fighting because my son deserves a chance. Anything else to me is distraction and division and is pointless and should not be given any time or energy by anybody to argue against it. So that's all I got to say about the whole Skyception. But I'm